Greetings, greetings. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. We're now going live. The topic of this video is going to be about subscribing to my new channel, Dorsey's Resource 873, for new updates and content creation. For new content creation, this video is about subscribing to my new channel. I'm going to go over briefly again the reason why I had to create this other channel. This is a completely separate channel altogether. Keep in mind, I plan on, like as I mentioned to you all already, migrating my content over there, because with this current channel, just because I'm able to go live from the current avatar that you would see me comment in the comment section, that's actually lately, you guys have seen me comment, by the way, that's coming from my other channel, that's not coming from this channel. As I previously explained, I'm able to log in, but however, I cannot access my back office studio. Now, I did contact YouTube previously. They were looking into the matter. Some of the tech support told me they were unsure as to the reason why. But however, my other channel, which was my backup channel, was removed. It was actually my smaller channel. This channel was actually my bigger, larger channel. And I guess the way I created it, it was a conduit or sub of my smaller channel. But my smaller channel was actually the original main channel, because when I first started off, I wasn't as tech savvy. In learning YouTube, Google can be very complex with the way they set things up. To me, it's not really user friendly. A lot of famous people, in case you're wondering, by the way, why this is easy for people to just do some of this type of stuff. Some people have had a background. It's a lot easier if people have had schooling in what do you call it, video graphics editing, or have went to like school for studio production and things of that sort. It's going to come a lot easier for someone. And a lot of people that are wealthy, what I was going to go into, that have a lot of money, can just pay people that they can hire to do these things for them. I was considering in the past, I was contacted and I was looking into the matter. I didn't know originally they had these firms that can help you with branding. I'm still maybe going to look into that. That can help people get more views and stuff like that. But I didn't want to cheat the system or cheat you guys. I wanted to have grow authentically my content without having to pay for subscribers, because I am aware people can pay, and people have done this, but it doesn't mean that it'll equivalent to ad revenue properly, because I've heard that there's super large channels out there that don't, when they can do the averages, don't meet the standards for that size for the amount of ad revenue they should be receiving, because they were basically gaming the system, or they weren't authentic, and people can see through that eventually when you're not providing good quality content, or it's a bit deceptive. So to let you guys know, I wanted to be transparent with you all, to let you all know what was going on, what happened with the channel. Of course, Google did not give me a specific reason. I was looking for a more specific reason. They were very vague with the language when I got off work the morning of May 31st, right before June of this year. And I said my account was terminated because I had too many violations, and they were not explicitly clear. And I when I contacted YouTube's tech support, when I was finally able to reach someone, and now it appears as though I wasn't able to reach anyone by phone. They have things set up. I don't know if there is a way. And I've heard some people have had to hire lawyers or whatever that have done that. Of course, that will cost, a significant amount of money and things of that sort, just to get through sometimes to, I guess, reach an actual live human being. Because now they're trying to have it where you have to chat with someone, or even when you make a call, they'll redirect you, or it's separate between Google One and YouTube. Just to let you guys know, this is what's happening behind the scenes. This is what content creators like myself have had to deal with. Micro influencers. There's many other people that have been blacklisted unfairly. They have been censored. It's very cruel what they're doing, just to let you know. And they don't like it too when you're redirecting traffic off of their platform as well. But I said I would still use their platform, because they still do have one of the largest platforms. But as I've mentioned to you all previously, video web hosting platforms. But as I've mentioned to you all once again, Rumble has grown exponentially. You have Brighteon.com. You have Gab.ai TV. You have Odyssey Library. I'm not on Odyssey Library. There's so many out there. You have Band.video. It's done an excellent job, by the way. Also, MadMaxWorld.tv. And he's partnered with other media or independent media organizations and other top influencers who have been blacklisted or banned, such as David Icke over in the UK. He has his own channel over on Band.video, aka MadMaxWorld.tv. Some former investigative journalists, reporters that get the real information out to you, that don't spew the lies that the mainstream media is not explicitly telling you the whole story, or you don't understand. They'll just give you a story. And what I like, Alex Jones, he goes more in depth. He has a staff of people who have good graphics, video editing skills. They provide the documents. When I am able to catch his program, they show the actual documentation, even when he's live. I watch his video side, for example. And I don't work for Alex Jones, in case you're wondering. There's people that have accused me because I've promoted him. I'm not getting paid a single dime. I'm just sharing from my own experience. I follow numerous other people as well to show you there's people out there that have cognitive dissonance. They just refuse to accept the truth if it doesn't come from the liberal controlled mainstream media. By the way, understand your local, even your local news agencies, which ABC is under Disney or Scripps Howard. There's like super conglomerate corporations that control sub news organizations. So your local news anchors, they're reading from teleprompters. And understand, if they tell you the real information, sometimes if they go off or deviate off the actual story, the facts, keep in mind they can get in trouble, they can lose their jobs, they can get fired. I understand that. And also, I've known people in the what they call the hood or the ghetto or the streets would tell me sometimes when certain things would hit the news, it would not accurately depict what would actually happen or happen in the neighborhood. When I've been, right in the thick of things, I'm still in Detroit, in real tough areas. At one time, Detroit was a murder capital. I think now that Chicago has made it many years. DC at one time, parts of Maryland or Baltimore. And it's not something to brag about. I'm just giving an example that I've talked to people right in the hard urban areas that have told me personally that when the media would get a hold of certain information, say if something happened a couple streets over or a block over, and they would tell me what actually occurred. And then they said the media, even the local news, would spin the story. It wouldn't even be what it was actually. So always check with the independent media, as I stress to you guys. That's what I'm sort of like unofficially an investigative journalist. I'm a researcher, mainly a researcher. I get into history sometimes, and I act as a referral source. I have good, as I've been told by close friends, good networking abilities. That's part of my niche. I'm still trying to get better at that niche and get the information to you guys that you are not being told the real actual truth on subjects I cover. And I also give a disclaimer, which I'm going to get ready to, as I always encourage you all to do your own homework and research. And as I just mentioned, this video is always going to be, in previous videos, the past and the future, is always for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. The information I go over is not to be construed as legal advice. These are my opinions on the said topic. In the event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, please keep in mind it's up to every individual competent person to please, once again, do his or her own homework and research into the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice. Dorsey's Resource Channel is not liable or responsible for anyone's misuse of the information. Once again, these are my opinions. That's why I encourage you guys. I say this over and over. Do your research. Okay? So all rights are reserved on the matter. And I just want to get that out the way. Let's see who we have here. We have Multi Haystack says, hey, your brother Dorsey, thank you for joining. The few of you, I know it's pretty late. Probably not going to get a lot of you all, but that is just to give you all a heads up. That is my new channel. By the way, in the description, I linked of the video is Dorsey's Resource 873. And what I was able to do before I went live, I have to do this because I don't have actually access to the YouTube studio. I can't log in anymore, even though I'm able to still, it's funny, I'm able to still broadcast to you guys live. But because this channel was linked under my channel that was removed, I'm not able to access the studio anymore. So I had to put, what I did is I copied and pasted the link to my newer channel in the description box. So if you go to that link in the description box, make sure you go over there and subscribe. It's in the link of this video. But if you want to type it in manually on YouTube or do a search to find me, to find the specific channel, it'll have my face avatar, one of my other avatars you all should recognize I've used prior, and it'll say at Dorsey's Resource in all caps 873. That's the link that'll take you over. And I actually planned on going live over there tonight from StreamYard. The reason I was not able to was because it has to go through that channel, since it's new, has to go through like a period before it's approved, a time period. So I have to wait for that. But I can go live once I get off or get some time. I'll start going live over there more periodically. You know, I go live more often than I've done regular videos. Ever since YouTube created the live feature, it's easier for me to go live to give you all updates, to let you all know what's been going on. So I do plan on going live over on that other channel sometime in the near future. And I also had planned to on Rumble, which has grown exponentially. It's a platform that I highly, highly recommend. If you're looking for a lot of the good content creators that you used to find on YouTube that may not be on YouTube anymore, some of the platforms that were owned by Google, that they removed or kicked off, you can find a lot of those content creators or micro influencers or big influencers on Rumble now. They may be more conservative leaning, but Rumble is not this right-wing conspiracy platform as they are always, the mainstream media will place these labels on independent media platforms that are not their enemy, because understand what these platforms are like an enemy to them, by the way, because they're not funded by the same or super conglomerate corporations that can control them. And when these super conglomerate corporations have that much say so in the mainstream media, that's why they're able to control what to a great degree what, as I broke down earlier, what news anchors could say even on world news. Because remember at the end of the day, they're reading from teleprompters, by the way. In many majority of cases, they have stories that they cannot deviate off those stories. But when you are subscribed and you check out the independent media, by the way, some call the alternative media, but I call it independent media, that is independent from the mainstream, that is not bought off. You're going to get real honest opinions, great reviews, great content. And I check multiple different channels, like, for example, Band.video is partnered with other multiple mainstream, and you get honest opinions from very astute people with credible background, by the way. So a lot of those people have worked really hard. They're much larger than my platform. I'm just relaying, sharing the information, how I do research as a micro influencer, content creator, and relay it to you all to empower you all with empowering information that is going to be good quality information, that is not based off hearsay. This is from my actual experience. I check on a regular basis. Then you have Brighteon.com. That's Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. He has excellent commentary about what's going on in the world. So I always say, cross-reference, check with the independent media. Do not trust the mainstream media, the official stories, like what happened in Hawaii or what's going on with the war, because the mainstream media is not going to entirely tell you the full truth. They're going to lie in many cases. They're not just going to be simply completely honest. Overall, the independent media is more honest. You also have a platform called BitChute.com, BITCHUTE, BitChute.com. By the way, it's another good platform, independent media. Once again, that's a video web hosting platform, by the way, that's open to content creators. And there's already a lot of influencers, micro influencers, major influencers over there already that have migrated over there, as other platforms are growing exponentially to combat this censorship that YouTube, Google, Apple, Amazon is engaged in violating antitrust laws, by the way. Yes, they are in violation of antitrust laws, but because I call them big tech bullies, they're super conglomerate corporations that know they have a war chest of money and an army of lawyers. They bully people, but the actual law, because these companies, Google, YouTube, Facebook, formerly that's now Meta, Twitter, that's now with the X platform, it's gotten a lot better, in my opinion, since Elon bought it, but it still censors, unfortunately, by the way. But originally, these platforms registered as public utilities, meaning in the public square, the public atmosphere, they were supposed to be unbiased, fair, just like utility services years ago, lights, water, gas, sewage. When you had a home, house, apartment, or residence, they had to provide these utilities without discrimination on no matter who you were. Telephone company, when we had landlines, they were embedded, and it's part of and tied in with the antitrust laws with these big tech bullies have been violating. So no, YouTube has been in major, complete violation of censorship, and they're always rolling out new policies of certain topics that they're saying they don't want you to talk about, which is in direct violation of freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is explicitly clear in the language and when it was formed in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, which is part of our Constitution and our foundation of government. And I think there should be a case that's going all the way up to the Supreme Court. By the way, we still may have to get a ruling. So hopefully down the road, we get the right person in office. We can't get these big tech bullies broken up, these monopolies, but it's going to take the people to fight, because when you see before countries previously, when you look at history, have gone in communism, many countries, if you study history, this is a fact, this is a historical fact. Many countries before they've gone under tyranny, they've gotten rid of things like religion. They just found out one country, I won't go into the details because the person's name is not worth mentioning. A lot of times I know if I said the name, it triggers people, but this person was so heinous, along with others, they got rid of Bibles. They even had a burning of the books. They put it in a movie because I asked a friend some years ago, this movie that I saw, why they were burning these books. And he told me when a new regime takes over, that's wicked, that's evil, they get rid of the information. That's to suppress the information. So the people, so can't you guys see, if you're liberal, a lot of liberals are progressives are going along with this. How are you going along with this? Can't you see the evil that's coming from your Democratic Party is behind cancel culture? That's why I'm not saying the conservatives are perfect, but they're not trying to pass all these other legislation where they're trying to do harm to your children within the school system, with taking that, you know what, or making you change genders and pushing cancel culture. That's why overall, if I was a registered voter, I would vote as a, you know, not saying I'll probably be independent or libertarian, but I know you're forced to take the lesser of two evils, but that, or the better option. But look at what the Democratic Party liberals have turned into. It's sad. That's why the reason why under this Biden administration, food prices have gone up, gas prices. It's not a coincidence. Don't act like you don't know what you got. Many of you liberals who voted for Biden because you said just because we need to get Trump out. I actually heard before Trump left office, he mentioned at one of his rallies, I believe it's the same rally that the rapper or former rapper Little Flip showed up at, and he stated that he did something. I didn't know this was confirmation with the the gas companies to make, or the fuel companies to help reduce the amount of people's gas prices. Because I was wondering, well, I saw, you know, gas prices were being lowered, and before the pandemic was brought in, he was breaking records, having a lower, the lowest unemployment rates, funding historically black college universities. That's a fact. That's not hearsay. Actually, they were at the White House, by the way. They were invited, historically black college universities. And by the way, historically, it was the Republican Party who created the historically black college universities. Look it up. It was the Republican Party who were the abolitionists that fought to end slavery. Once again, I hate to say, look it up. It's sad that a lot of liberals, progressives that are just brainwashed, that are just not getting the real credible information. It was the Republican Party who were the abolitionists that fought to end slavery. It was the Democrats who were trying to re-enslave you. It was the Democratic Party. This is a historical fact. This is unequivocally unequivocally cannot be disputed or refuted. The Democratic Party created what you know is today the Ku Klux Klan. Get this through your thick skull. I don't know if you liberals understand this. You always, and I'm not trying to get political, but I notice they always place the blame on the Republican Party. And the Republicans are so evil, they're so hateful, but it's the Democrats, progressive, that supports cancel culture. Let's look at what cancel culture is doing, even to your own progressive people. Look what they tried to do to the comedian Kevin Hart. They went back years ago on his Twitter handle. So if they like to go back years ago, don't you think it's okay if the other side is making a point? We can go back years ago, hundreds of years ago, when I found out under Obama's administration, the DNC got rid of the historical records that showed that it was a grand wizard from the Ku Klux Klan that spoke at the first Democratic National Convention. Why would they get rid of that? Because it shines a negative light, because they don't want you to know. The Democrats were originally the party of racists, the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow. It was the Democratic Party. This is a historical fact. Look it up. Unequivocally, the Democratic Progressive Party, which you know is liberal, progressive, leaning Democrat, all tied in one. Whether they come up with these different names, let's not play the semantics, but originally the Democratic Party, you call them the Dixiecrats, what they were known as. Not too much has changed. They created the Jim Crow laws. Know what else they also created? They created the Black Codes. Yes, the Black Code. And Mississippi, the state of Mississippi, while they have policies to this day that still, we know there's things, I admit racism still goes on. I don't 100% agree with Candace Owens or Brandon Tatum on certain points they make. I acknowledge there's still under, what do you call, marginalized groups and things. But a lot of these things, when you study the history, that comes from the Democratic Party, their racist policies. They voted, they implemented that. Joe Biden was friends with the former plantation owner, James Eastland. Look it up, research it, learn about it. Yes, he was friend. Joe Biden was also friends with Strom Thurmond, a known racist. Joe Biden and the Clintons were also friends with former Senator Robert Byrd, who was a Democrat, who was a member of the Ku Klux Klan. Senator Robert Byrd was also part of Project Monarch, which Kathy O'Brien out of Muskegon, Michigan, that exposed the MK Ultra sex cult, mentioned as a whistleblower. She called out Senator Robert Byrd. Yes, the Democrats are evil. Learn your history behind the Democratic Party so you cannot just excuse them. I know MSNBC, Roland Martin, all these people try to portray the Democratic Party as though there's some type of guardian angel. The Democratic Progressive Liberals. No, they are not. Kennedy's legislation, when he created the Civil Rights Act bill legislation, was based off the original legislation that was created by the Republican Party. Look it up. After Kennedy was murdered, when the deep state of the 1960s of that time period murdered John F. Kennedy, which includes Lyndon Baines Johnson, Herbert Walker Bush, that's Daddy Bush, who was part of the CIA. One of the reasons they passed the civil rights legislation in the 60s was to honor Kennedy, but it just put a Band-Aid on things. I still support reparations. Yes, it did not fully address the need of Black Americans as it should have, but remember, Lyndon Baines Johnson famously quoted, "I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. What is the reason why? The entitlement programs. What were the entitlement programs? Black people, you cannot, and other minority groups, you cannot inherit wealth off of food stamps, cash assistance. The entitlement programs, they knew it was a trap. Remember, before Martin Luther King was murdered, he said, "I'm afraid I'm leading my people into a burning house." These are actual quotes. Look it up, research it. Some of you all already know. Why did he say this? When you put things in a proper context and you go back and you dissect the history, I have to dumb it down so people can understand it and research it. And did you know originally Lyndon Baines Johnson, after Martin Luther King was at the White House, there's a photo online with other civil rights leaders when the legislation was signed, before Lyndon Baines Johnson made this quote. Did you know he was against that civil rights bill? He voted against it twice. The only reason they passed it was to honor Kennedy after Kennedy was murdered, because him and his brother Robert were looking out for Kennedy more so than the other people within the Democratic Party, and they switched their tune. They created, from a public relations aspect, they switched their strategy. But it was mainly just John and Robert And that's why they got the majority of the black vote in the 1960s. That's why to this day, the majority of the black community votes Democrat. Understand that. But I went into the context. It's important for you to understand the true history of the Democratic Party and what they have done. Do not excuse them. So the onus is on them more so, in my opinion, versus the Republican Party when it comes to mending the damage, repairing the damage. Because remember, once again, they voted Democratic Party. It's a historical fact. Voted for the Jim Crow law. They created the black codes. Further evidence behind this, you might say, Dorsey, what is the supporting documentation behind this? Okay, I got you. Look it up. Go on Wikipedia. Not only that, Minister Louis Farrakhan with the Nation of Islam, but on behalf of his organization, Nation of Islam has a historical research department. Am I part of the Nation of Islam? No, I'm a researcher. So I'm not part of the Nation of Islam. I'm not getting paid. I'm not affiliated. But as a researcher, this was shared with me by a friend who knows a Mason. Actually, a couple Masons, two different Masons I know shared this same story. They were traveling men. They said, referred to Minister Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam's book called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. You can obviously find out why both books were banned. I recommend part 1 and 2. They have the historical evidence behind what I'm going over with the Democratic Party and the secret relationship between the blacks and those who call themselves Jews, the same ones that censored Kyrie Irving, which I supported, and Kanye West in those endeavors, those situations. Look it up. It's called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. That's a supporting documentation if you want further. But go on Wikipedia. Look up. It was the Democratic Party. There's also some documentaries that talked about the Jim Crow era prior, or talked about restitution, that deal with reparation. A good video I saw, and they had in the background the D symbol years ago that stood for the Democratic Party. So in case you're wondering, that's what's going on to this day. So the globalists, the ruling class elite that are running the world, they're using mainly the Democratic Progressive Party, those prosecutors who are going after Trump. Information is coming out, being brought out. They're funded. Many of them are connected to George Soros. He passed his organization, Open Society Foundation, down to his son, Alexander Soros. By the way, I hear he's a gatekeeper for the ruling class elite, for the bankers, the Federal Reserve. Yes, Soros is an elite, but he's also an op. You guys know, listen to rap music, who the ops are. George Soros, who's passed the organization down to his son, Alexander Soros, funds Open Society Foundation. This is another fact. This is not a conspiracy theorist. I have a friend where his brother, I won't say which state, used to work for Open Society Foundation. His other brother, they were appalled when they found out, because he had received thousands of dollars. By the way, this is a fact. So I know people personally. We got evidence behind this, folks. I don't just get on here and lie, make stuff up. Okay, you can fact check may lie to you, because remember, all of that was created, that Snoops and stuff, it was created to combat, because I know the Republican Conservative Party is not perfect. Yes, they have their flaws, but overall, look at the Freedom Caucus. They have better quality information. They still support the family structure, the nuclear family structure, which I still support. I'm not against, which Black Lives Matter tried to delete it, removed it off their website, how they mentioned how they were against the nuclear family structure, by the way. But once people started uncovering this, they removed it. I don't know if they put it back up, but we do know for a fact online there were YouTubers who documented this, so they can't lie, because Brandon Tatum went on Fox Soul. He was interviewed. A lady just blatantly, she didn't even know she was debating with him, and he was correct in his facts and research. They had it on their website. They did not support the nuclear family structure, by the way. And as you've listened to neurosurgeon Dr. Ben Carson, which is a phenomenal feat that he's accomplished in his life, being a doctor at that level, one of the smartest people in the world, he stated to help fix the black community, it starts with the family structure. That's one of the things. Look at what they're doing. Look what organization, I won't even need to say that they're pushing, which political party heavily supports that organization, which is weaponized. Keyword, very, very weaponized to destroy, dismantle, and you know, what does it say in the Bible? If you want to get biblical, I can come, not to get religious, But I can come from a biblical aspect. What do they say? The devil comes to what? To steal, kill, and destroy. What organization? I don't even need to say the name if you guys understand what I'm talking about. What organization are they pushing? Which political party is more aligned with this particular organization? By the way, without even saying the name, you guys can just guess it. That pushes this thing, you know, with this agenda that is going after a direct attack to the family structure. And that's not to say me personally as having a libertarian belief system. You can look up what libertarians are, but we have to vote politically because they force you to have to pick a candidate that I say some call a lesser of two evils, or some say what's the better option between the two. I understand that. So as someone who has maybe like a libertarian background, and I believe in fairness, I believe you can do what you want to do in private. I have no problem with that, honestly. I have no problem with who marries who. That's just me personally. But I'm just saying I notice these things as a researcher, independently going over this type of information when I have commentary, when I talk about politics, or people ask me my opinions on certain topics, my weigh-in, and I look at the moral decay in society. And one of the reasons that moral decay is taking place, and I hear this all the time when it comes to these school shootings, and they have parents that meet and they say, what's the solution? What can we do to fix or this problem with crime? It's always some of the same okie doke. And they always say it many times, it starts with the family structure, the parent. It goes back to the parents have to instill these fundamentals, these foundations in their children, by the way. Because even though I don't attend church on a regular basis anymore, I have, it instilled in me discipline. The church instilled in me a moral compass, my morality that I have. It instilled in me integrity, which implies honesty, trustworthiness. Over, not saying this makes me perfect, because many of us have our flaws and fall short. But as you can see, and I want you all to see what I see, they're getting ready, the ruling class elite, what you call the powers that be, whatever name you give them, the Illuminati, the ruling class, the global criminal syndicate, whatever label you put on them, you know who they are. And they have their minions, they have their underlings, they have their gatekeepers. But can't you clearly see, I was taught about the New World Order from one of my relatives. I mentioned it to you already previously. Some of you already know. Years ago, my mother took me to the Bible Prophecy Club. That's still on YouTube, by the way. Stan Johnson, the Bible Prophecy Club. Pastor Lindsey Williams was connected to the Bible Prophecy Club. They talked about some of these things years ago. I learned about the New World Order, the one world government, the mark of the beast, the Antichrist. I actually see through these policies that are being implemented, these things that are happening, I see these things being brought in through clearly. And I'm not even a registered voter. I'm someone who just pays attention, mind you. But I see this being brought in mainly through the Democratic, Liberal, Progressive Party. I see it being brought in, implemented, what's happening out here. If you're really concerned, and look at when they took, I hear years ago, some of the elders used to tell me, when they took prayer out to schools, I heard back in the 60s, it was before my generation, because I was born later than that. I'm not that old, but there's some out there that I know that were born in during that decade or even prior to that time period. And they always, a lot of elders used to tell me things started to get worse back then. Now it's much worse than what elders or older people used to tell me during my generation when I was still in middle school, high school. And I had the opportunity to go to a private Christian school from fifth grade all the way up to ninth grade. I had a good background. I started off in public school. I went to a public school from, you say, second grade up to fourth grade. Then fifth grade, I was taken out of public school. I was put in a Christian private school, which I learned were like the modern day precursors to the charter schools. I don't know all the history behind that, but I was listening to an activist mention a lecture about that. So I'm not a foremost authority, but I went to a Christian private school to give you guys a little background on myself. From fifth grade all the way up to ninth grade. Then when I started 10th grade, I transferred to a high school that was public school. Was a lot of stuff going on, was a lot more violent. With the private school I went to when I first started there, They had already taken the Pledge of Allegiance out of many of the schools already, even the public schools that I went to. They didn't even say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. So when I went to a private school, I knew about the Pledge of Allegiance, and we did that. And even I had some teachers that re-emphasized that back then. So some of what is happening today was going on back then, but it hadn't gotten as bad as it is now. Well, I hear what's going on across the country where they're forcing parents with that particular group, I won't say the name, into these different agendas. You know, they're pushing with that organization. Some know, if you say the word alphabet organization, you'll know people, generally speaking, will know. I'm not talking about the government organization, but that one organization many refer to as the alphabet organization. And I hear they're forcing this wokeness and cancel culture amongst parents across the country. It gets real devious. I even heard in California, if parents don't affirm the gender of their child, they can be penalized and have their children taken away from them through CPS, Child Protective Services. Ain't that something? If they don't affirm their child's gender, and that these schools secretly are passing or doing things to secretly even have kids vaccinated and even have their genders and stuff like that changed without parents' consent. Can you believe we've gotten to this point? So that means if you have your children in the public, and you know about contracts or the redemption information, it means they're telling you up front, this is the new world order type stuff. Saying you don't even own your children, but in one sense, they say you're responsible if your children do something really bad or whatever, like they're trying to prosecute those parents that had their devil child shoot up the Oxford school. But I'm just saying, you know, in one sense, but in another sense, when they want to push this agenda, they can do things. They're doing things, I hear, without parents' consent. And this is being reported on, in case you're wondering, by the independent media. It's reporting on stuff like this. I see we got Tanya Reynolds in the chat, says, blessings, Dorsey. I'm going to read the comments now. Tanya Reynolds says, I subscribe to your channel, Dorsey. Oh, thank you. Dorsey, I'm here to support. I love your video. I appreciate you, Tanya. Thank you so much for supporting. Your love is much appreciated. Gratitude. We have Blanca Lagarda says, hi, Dorsey. Favor upon you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you all for joining. Thank you for the love. Thank you all once again that have continued to rock with me, that have continued to stay loyal to the channel, that have spread the word. You're much appreciated. And make sure, don't forget, the link should be in the description box, and it's also in the previous video that I recorded before I did this video. It will take you over to my new YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe over there. And I hope, hopefully soon in the near future, I tried to go live over there tonight, but StreamYard told me I had, with this particular software. Now, if I just use regular live from my webcam on my PC earlier when I wasn't at work, I would have been able to go live over there, just so you guys know, by the way. But I did try to go live to give you all a heads up from my other channel, start doing content over there. I know some of you all may be wondering, I don't have any videos uploaded yet, but hopefully soon I'll get some content over there, maybe eventually get a welcoming video, by the way, to direct you over there. So that's what is going on, by the way. So that's the update. I didn't really want to be before you all that long, but once again, this video was about going over subscribing to my new channel. Over there, I should have new future updates, newer content when I discuss certain things. I might still go live over here from time to time, by the way, but that's my backup channel. And then down the road, I may have another channel entirely. What I'm thinking about doing is I may do some of my vlog videos over there to try to help grow that channel, build that channel up. And then I'm also on Rumble, but I always update you guys if I go live on Rumble down the road, or I start. I have 4 videos over there. I don't have a lot. I still got to get my other videos over on Rumble. I will let you all know. And keep in mind, if you do still follow me on Facebook, my Dorsey's Resource Facebook page, I can post the links over there. I have 2 different Dorsey's Resource Facebook pages. I have a Twitter handle as well. I do use Instagram, not as much. I'm also on minds.com. That's minds.com. I'm also on truthsocial.com. And down the road, I am considering getting on a few other platforms such as Frank Speech, Getter. I am on Brighteon, but I did not upload any fully my profile yet. But I did have an email attached over on Brighteon. But those were as backups. But once I get more acclimated, I get more time to go before you all. I will give you all the updates. So don't think I'm leaving you guys hanging. I'm still here. I'm back. We're going to hopefully I have some good content for you all down the road. And I won't talk about the same thing, but let me know what you guys also would like me to talk about too. Any ideas out there? I'm open to any new ideas, certain topics that you guys want me to venture into. You want my weigh in or commentary? Just let me know. With that being said, I want to thank you all for checking me out tonight. You all for joining me. Until next time, you all have a blessed, wonderful night. Great morning. May the force be with you. Until next time, Amitofo. Take care. Peace. Shalom.